Tune in. It is time to get caught up with Bishop Dee Gales and change the way you view the world. I'm a L on my B, U, crooked letter I, N, E, crooked letter. Tell everyone to tune in. It is time to get caught up with Bishop Dee Gales and change the way you view the world. I'm a L on my B, U, crooked letter I, N, E, crooked letter. Hey everybody. Hey everybody out there in Facebook and YouTube land. We're going to get started right quick today just because we got a lot we're going over. If you would like to, I would appreciate it if you would start a watch party, share this link on your page, get other people involved in the conversation. Today, as you know, our topic is the stereotypes of Black women. Now, is it our fault? And what we're going to talk about today is we're going to go into the contributions that Black men and Black women make into the stereotypes of Black women. So we're just going to jump right on in. Now, I kind of got this because I was looking at a lot of different posts on Facebook. I'm on Facebook like I have six. Let me give you a spectrum of where I'm coming from with this. I have 6 different Facebook accounts. I have 18 groups that I run on Facebook. So I see a lot of posts. I see a lot of posts from a lot of different people. And there's a consistent thing that I'm seeing on Facebook as far as our Black women are concerned. And it's just something that I think we need to speak on. And we as Black women and we as Black people need to address because it's not getting any better. So it's time that we address it and we kind of get an idea of where this is coming from and where it's headed if we don't do something about it. So some of the stereotypes we're going to go over today of Black women, and these are the ones that I think that are more detrimental to Black women as a whole. And that is the first stereotype, of course, is the mad Black woman. And we're going to get into these in a little bit more in depth in just a moment. Then we have the stereotype number 2, which is the emasculating Black woman. And then we have number 3 is the hypersexual Black woman. And then the bitter Black woman. We have the dominant Black woman. And then we have to go into what it's going to take to redefine the Black woman. So let's go ahead into number 1, if you don't mind. Let me go ahead and get this. Y'all bear with me because I told you I'm using something new. So now we have segment number 1, which is the mad Black woman. And just to kind of give you a description of what the mad Black woman stereotype is all about, it is the notion that most Black women are mad about something, or anytime we express feelings, thoughts, or opinions, we're either angry, bitter, or hurt. And we just have to keep in mind that this process completely invalidates Black women's legitimate feelings as irrational or perceived or accused of being like in an emotional state. So we just have to keep in mind that these stereotypes of Black women are just, not great. And you know what the angry, Black woman kind of sounds like is anytime we express an opinion or a thought or an emotion, we have to be angry or upset about something. We got to be mad about something. It's like we can't have a rational thought or a rational opinion without us being mad about something. And, we're not always mad. We do have opinions. We do think. We do have, thoughts and opinions and feelings about things that are going on in the world. And so, or even things that are it's mostly things that are going on in our personal life. So even if it's something going on in our personal life, with our significant other, with things that's going on with our families, no matter what it is, when a Black woman expresses a feeling or emotion, it has to be rooted in some type of anger. And, Black women are not always angry. I just want to, let's get that out the way. And I've even experienced this in the workplace, that idea that Black women are always angry. And if you're a Black woman, you've experienced this. You've been told to calm down when you're not upset. Just because you're expressing your displeasure about something, you're getting told to calm down, don't get upset, don't be. Why are we upset? We're not upset, we're just expressing to you our displeasure in a situation. So it doesn't mean we're angry. We can be not happy about something that's going on, and we can be not pleased about something that's going on, but it doesn't mean we're angry. And that is a stereotype that's being perpetuated about Black women. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of that stereotype about the angry Black woman comes from the Black man and Black entertainment, because we're often portrayed in movies as being angry or mad. And that's not always the case when it comes to Black women. Even with some of the memes and stuff that I see on social media, always that portrays Black mothers as being angry and cursing and, MF this and sit your ass this and get your MF and butt this. And I mean, that's just not every Black mother. And that is not even the average Black mother that I know of anyway, that talks to their kids in that way. So it's like, why are we perpetuating these stereotypes of Black women? And why are we as Black women accepting these stereotypes? Why are we laughing at this? It's not funny. And a lot of times it's being laughed off as, oh, it's just funny. It's just joking. It's just playing. It's not serious. Or it's just comedy. Or no, we have to realize that there are groups of people that do not have day in and day out exposure to Black women, like Asians and whites and other races. Sometimes all they know about us personally is what they see in our entertainment, what they see being portrayed by us as Black actresses, or by our men as Black comedians or Black entertainers. And that's all they see, and that's what they know. So when they're at work with a Black woman, or they're, engaging a Black woman, they kind of expect her to be like the media images that are portrayed about Black women. So we have to work together as a group and as a people to get rid of that stereotype. And then we have the other one about being bitter. We're going to talk about that one a little bit more in depth, because that one really, really is hurting Black women and Black relationships between Black men and women. That is a stereotype, that is really hurting us as a people. And so we need to really get into that one a little bit more, but we're going to talk about that a little later. And then we have to get out of the notion that anytime a Black woman, expresses something, we're hurt. We got to be hurt about something. It got to be rooted down in some kind of deep-seated hurt. No, we can just, if we speak out against domestic violence, or if we speak out against verbal abuse, or if we speak out against certain issues that are taking place, we have to be hurt. There's some kind of deep-seated hurt that we're speaking from. And it's not always that. People can be healed and delivered of past experiences and still have strong feelings about those types of experiences when they see other people going through them, because it's just wrong. Just like everybody had this big, strong reaction to the George Floyd situation. But how many of us have actually been a victim of police brutality? So you don't have to be a victim of something to express a strong feeling about it. And so we as Black people have to stop perpetuating this stereotype of Black women, as every time we express feelings, thoughts, or opinions, that we're either angry, bitter, or hurt. This thought process completely invalidates Black women and throws our feelings off on a perceived or a confused emotional state. So we have to stop treating our Black women like that. And the reason why I say our Black women, because yes, Black women often sometimes do it as well. We accuse other Black women of being angry, bitter, or hurt because they, refuse to accept certain, attitudes or behaviors from, other people. So we have to stop perpetuating this stereotype of Black woman. And if you've ever been a Black woman that's been a victim of this stereotype, you understand what I'm talking about. So then we're going to go ahead and we've talked about the mad Black woman. So our next stereotype is going to be, give me just a moment. Like I told you, I'm dealing with some new features, and sometimes my ability to click is okay. Now, the second, go back. Now, the second stereotype we're going to deal with is the emasculating Black woman. And this is the idea that Black women are looking to tear down the Black man. And this could be, in the form of constructive criticism, expressing displeasure, or setting expectations for our personal relationships. Now, this thought process enables men to avoid being held accountable for their shortcomings or work to make themselves better men by being held to a standard. Too many men, I think, are plagued by effeminate spirit. And this is the reason why they feel like anytime a Black woman is offering constructive criticism, even of just general qualities of Black men in general, or expressing displeasure, or trying to set an expectation, that is often viewed as emasculating Black men. And that's just not the case. If you're not pleased with your man's behavior, you should be allowed to express that without him feeling emasculated. And I feel like the reason why a lot of times men feel emasculated, it goes to an effeminate spirit. They're too sensitive. They're overly sensitive to any type of criticism. And this is this societal problem that we have now going on as well, where everybody is just overly sensitive. Everybody's offended by everything. And our Black men are taking on this same spirit of offense, that whereas your black queen, that's what you call us sometimes, right? Or your Black queen, when you're pleased with our behavior, or when you're trying to give off this appearance of being this socially well-rounded individual on Facebook, I see all the time we're called Black queens. But yet when that Black queen of yours has a problem with your behavior, or wants to talk to you about areas of improvement that she sees that you can make as a man, all of a sudden she's emasculating you. She's trying to tear you down as a Black man. And I see instances where you have Black women who spoke out on the Bill Cosby situation, or Black women who spoke out on the R. Kelly situation, or speak out against any famous Black entertainer or athlete that has been brought to the media attention for doing something wrong. It could be domestic violence, like OJ, way back. You remember OJ Simpson? Y'all were older. You remember that case? And everybody who spoke against his behavior, or spoke against that abusive behavior, was considered tearing down the Black man, trying to emasculate the Black man, especially if you're a Black woman speaking against anything related to a Black man. It's like you're not allowed to do so. Like, we have to be 100% supportive of everything a Black man does, even if it's negative behavior. And we as Black women should not have to be that way in order to not be viewed as emasculating. And it's not that we're trying to emasculate our Black men, but that's the reason why I think that our young generation of Black men have gone so far astray, is because we can't criticize. We can't offer constructive. We can't set a standard or expectation for Black men, because anything we say or do in that area is considered emasculating them, trying to tear them down. And nobody gets better without constructive criticism. Nobody gets better without being told that there is an area of improvement there. No one gets better without somebody saying, hey, that's not right. And we have to get out of this spirit of offense, because the Bible even spoke about that there was going to come a time where everybody is going to be offended about something, and woe to the person that causes offense. And that's the era that we're living in now, where nobody can say anything. You can't speak the truth. You can't tell your man he need to get up and get a job without you trying to tear down a black man. Why you got to be coming down on a brother? Can't you just hold me down? No, you a grown man. Get up, work. You know? So we have to come out of this idea that a black woman is always trying to emasculate the black man. No, you got to understand, we have to lift our job as the woman is to lift you up and support you. But we're not going to lift you up and support me personally. I'm not going to lift up and support any black man that I know is doing something that's detrimental to his own well-being. That's detrimental to me as a black woman. We have to make sure that we start setting standards for our black men and be willing to hold them to those standards. And of course, they're going to kick and scream and complain because they don't want to be held to a standard. They want to be able to offer you as little as possible and be revered for it and be cheered for it. And that's just not the way it should be. So that's the stereotype number 2. The emasculating black woman. And we're not always trying to tear you brothers down just because we express displeasure. No, we want you to get better, and we shouldn't have to accept less in order to be in a relationship with a man. I should feel comfortable enough to tell you any issue that I have with you and you not feel like I'm trying to tear you down in doing so. So we're going to move on to the third. This is the projection that black women are more sexual and more open to diverse sexual experiences and partners. Now, this is partly, I feel like, our fault as black women that we have this stereotype out there. And of course, those stereotypes were initially introduced in media by music and entertainment and movies and stuff like that. But we as black women have allowed those stereotypes own setting of roles and stuff in movies that perpetuate those stereotypes. So yes, there are actresses and actors out there that help perpetuate the stereotype of black women being hypersexual. And up and down media, this twerking thing, just, I mean, every time I turn around, there's a video of women throwing a booty in a camera. And, you know, and you got to understand that, yeah, your butt might look good. You might get men attention. You might get thousands of likes on the video. Your video may go viral. But at the end of the day, you are doing a disservice to black women as a whole. Because with that little bit of attention that you're getting, you are making people who don't know black women, who don't have relationships and personal relationships with black women, to know better, to think that that's what black women are. When you do something on social media, you have to remember you're not just doing it representing you. You're representing black women as a whole. And I understand you might not be trying to do that. You might not want to be anybody's role model. It's not that you got to be a role model, but don't do something that can fall back on all of us. You know, don't make all of us look bad trying to get a few likes on a post. It's not worth it at the end of the day, because black women who don't fit those stereotypes have to deal with that stereotype. When I'm at work, I have to be extra careful how I dress. I got to be extra careful of my body type and certain clothes I wear, because my body type has been sexualized by people who think the big booty and the big getting butt implants and doing all that, it's been hypersexualized. So now when you're a black woman that don't dress like that, don't twerk like that, and don't do all those things, you have to fight the stereotype because you have the body type. And so I'm encouraging Black women to use something other than your butt to get a man's attention. It's amazing to me how I scroll through my news feed and I look at pictures and I see these pictures of women posing. And it's like, women, do we pose anymore without putting our butt in the camera? Do we always have to turn sideways so somebody can see the shape of her butt? It's like that's the only type of picture you see nowadays. And what really got me to the point that I was like amazed, because I'm looking at pictures of little girls, 3, 4, 5 years old, people posting pictures of their children up there. And the little girls are posed the same way. The hand on the hip and the booty to the side and doing the exact same thing. And it's like, oh my God, we are raising a generation of hoochies. And I'm sorry if people get offended by the word, because that's what it seems like. We're raising a generation of young girls who think that in order to get attention, the only thing that looks good about them is the shape of their butt, how big their booty is, how well they can twerk. And we as Black women have to accept responsibility for that, because we've allowed that to perpetuate. We are perpetuating that ourselves. And it's sad that me as a Black woman, I have to deal with somebody else's actions. Because now Black men expect all women to drop it like it's hot. Let me see what you working with. And too many Black women oblige that. When I was looking for, let me show you this picture right here. When I was not that picture, sorry about it. When I was looking for the picture that was on the front of the two women twerking with the white guy standing in the middle. When I Googled Black women twerking and I clicked on images, I wish I had never clicked on images, because some of the pictures that I saw were triple X. It was ridiculous. I just cannot believe that there are women that was posting this kind of stuff on their pages. I can't believe some of it's still up. I'm not even gonna tell y'all to click that search, but it was ridiculous. And so we as Black women, and I see white women getting into the thing too, but I'm talking about us, because, and not saying that I don't care about women, because I care about all of us, but it's us that constantly deal with the oppression in society, the discrimination in society, because of the color of our skin, just to start off. And then we're making it worse because we're adding on top of already pre-existing stereotypes just to make a fast buck, just to make some money, just to get likes, just to get social media fame and attention. Come on, y'all. It's just not worth it. And you got a whole generation of kids that are seeing what you putting out there. We got to do better, Black women. We just got to do better. We got to, because our generation depends on it. The young kids depend on it. We have to get more respect about how we carry ourselves. We have to value ourselves as being more than what we sit on. I think I got a pretty face. I think I'm beautiful. Now, do I have other attributes, other physical attributes? Yeah. But I don't want to use those. That's the reason why if you look through my pictures on Facebook, you will not see many pictures of my behind. You just won't. That's because I feel like that's just not something I need to put out there in order to get a man. First of all, that's not what my Facebook post is about. My Facebook is about ministering to people and helping people. But even then, I just still don't see a need to show pictures of myself. And the reason why I'm speaking like that is because there are Christian women that are doing the same thing. You'll be surprised how many videos I see of women with their boobs hanging out. Not hanging out, but you know what I mean? Just you can see all of It's like ridiculous. Like, what are you trying to? Are you trying to minister? Or are you trying to get a man? It's like, come on, y'all. We just got to do more. We got to do better as a race. So now going on to the fourth stereotype of black women, we have the bitter black woman. Remember, I told you we were going to talk about that a little bit more because this is a stereotype that I think really, really, really hurts black relationships. It's the idea that anytime a black woman rejects or confronts the opinions or actions of others, it is being done out of bitterness from past trauma or bad experience. We could be rejecting the man that's trying to manipulate or control us. It could be a topic or issue that we have strong feelings about, or even a spiritual leader that we disagree with or even speak out against. This is often used to invalidate a woman's feelings, decisions, actions, or opinions when they do not please certain people or people whom she's had a history with, or to justify the actions of others. We have to stop as a people. And when I say as a people, I mean male and female. Stop being so quick to throw out, oh, well, she just bitter. She just angry. She just mad. Just a bitter black woman. We have to get out of that. We have to get to a point that we can learn and grow from one another. And we'll never be able to learn and grow from one another if every time somebody tries to, confront an issue or confront a person, that it's always being done out of bitterness. No, it's certain things are just wrong. And if you don't confront the people that are doing it, if you don't put the issue out there, these things are just going to continue. And we as black people, we got so many issues in our community. I mean, I can make a list of issues that are wrong in our community. From domestic violence to sexual abuse to just not being able to get work, not just so many things, drug abuse, just it's so many things going on, racial injustice. There's so many things going wrong in our community that we as a people can address. Because no white person can deal with these issues that I'm bringing up today. These are issues that we have to deal with within our own community in order to make things better, to make our relationships better. And this we stop calling us bitter. Just because a black woman is not pleased with something that you're doing as a man, you specifically, doesn't mean that she's speaking out of bitterness from something that happened with another man years ago. She's talking to you now. Accept the fact that it's you, not her just being bitter, not something she just fabricating in her mind because you say so. I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation with men. And I'm not talking about just my personal conversation. I'm talking about with just men in general. Them talking about their relationships and things like, oh, she just bitter because she went through this and she went through that. My mama gave me advice a little bit before she passed away, to be honest with you. And she said, Michi, she called me Michi. She says, stop telling these men about you. Stop telling them about your past. And I never understood what she really meant about that until maybe like the next year, when I started going through things with my husband. And I started to realize that a lot of what I told him about my past experience about myself, thinking I'm just letting him get to know me, were the very things that he then began to throw up and use against me to justify his abusive behavior. Because everybody knows that I'm an outspoken woman. I have no problems with saying what I feel about stuff. I'm very outspoken. And he actually used that to say that that was my character and behavior within my relationship. Like I was just this loud, boisterous, angry, bitter black woman that was always yelling and screaming and jumping down on him about something. And that was just not the case at all. When I'm up here preaching and speaking and talking, yes, I'm speaking on issues and speaking on with things that I have passion about. But just sitting around the house talking on a regular debate, no. What reason would I have to be that way? So it's just that we got to be very careful that we're not demeaning each other, and that as black men, you're not using the bitter black woman to justify behaviors that you know are wrong, things that you know are unacceptable. And when she tries to talk to you, you accuse her of just being this bitter black woman, or this woman is just looking to tear you down. Come on. We need our black men to be stronger and be willing to hear imperfection, just like we're willing to hear things that we've done wrong. You rarely hear a woman when a man is trying to tell her where she needs to improve. You rarely hear her saying, you just a bitter black man, you angry from what the other woman did. You rarely hear black women say that. But yet that's what we're constantly bombarded with, is the idea that we're just some bitter black woman that don't have nothing else to do but just bring up old issues that we had with other men and dump them all on you. Give us a little bit more credit in that, black men. So our next stereotype, of course, is the dominant black woman. And this is one that kind of spills over into professional life as well. This is the ridiculous, and I call it the ridiculous. This is the ridiculous notion that black women desire to dominate and control their men. We do not. Contrary to popular belief, black women do not have a desire to control, to dominate and control our men. So that is another stereotype of black women that we need to get rid of, is the dominant black woman. And usually the reason why we are considered dominant or trying to control is because really we refuse to accept or tolerate unacceptable behavior, or we refuse to submit to unreasonable demands, or we refuse to be manipulated. This is the go-to accusation for men who fall into these categories themselves. Men who are trying to get women to accept unacceptable behavior. Men who have unreasonable demands of their women. Men who are trying to manipulate their women. And anytime that woman refuses those behaviors and actions from a man, then she's being accused of being dominant and trying to control him. I've heard men say, oh, she just trying to run me. When the truth is, she's really just not letting you run her. So we, as a race, we have to get out of some of the stereotypes which are really destroying our relationships as a race. And we have to understand that I don't know of a black woman that has the desire to dominate her man. I don't. I have yet to come across one. Now, I know that there are controlling women, and I think men should not allow that. But at the same time, there's a difference between a woman who's trying to control you and a woman who is making suggestions and offering you constructive criticism. Because at the end of the day, a woman really can't control a man. He's grown. He can do what he want to do. He's physically stronger and everything. So most women do not have the ability to control a man or dominate a man. So this whole idea of the dominant black woman who's just trying to dominate and control her man, I don't even know where the stereotype comes from. To me, it comes from men who desire to control their women and can't. So then they accuse her of trying to control him when she's not. So that's another stereotype of the black woman that we need to get rid of. Now, we have to work and find ways to heal our relationships. How do we begin to heal from these stereotypes that we have of black women? How do black men begin to heal? And one thing that Malcolm X said, and you know I'm a Christian woman, I'm not a Muslim at all. I don't believe in Islam. But he did make a statement that was very true, and this doesn't have a religious backing. It's the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And this is so true, guys. This is so true. Even with the Black Lives Matter marches, even with everything, the police brutality, everything that's in the media now, the focus is still mainly on black men who suffer police brutality. Not saying that black women, because we're talking about, black women who've suffered police brutality as well, but a lot of the media focus is on black men who are suffering. But there's another sufferer as well, and that is the black woman. Oftentimes our cries go ignored. What we go through is not in the highlight of the media because it's being used as entertainment to entertain people. When I see black women half naked shaking their tails all over the place, it hurts me as a black woman because I feel like we are so much more. When I see us being portrayed in movie and entertainment as being angry, and the only time that you even see a peaceful relationship involving a black woman is with a white man. And that's so irritating. Like everybody loved when what was that movie? I can't even think of the show right now. But it was with the oh my God, I should think of the name of it. It's so irritating right now. I cannot think of the name of that show. It's with when the girl Olivia, she was dating the president. Oh my God, I can't think of it right now. That's so bad. But it's like it was just that show really bothered me because everybody thought that she was just such an empowered, woman. She was a lawyer. She was rich, and she was this, and she was that. But at the end of the day, when you really look at that show, she was really being portrayed as the white man's HOE. That's really what she was. She was a black woman dating the white man who was married to a white. So at the end of the day, that was really a negative stereotype of black women. But we as black women thought it was so great. So we ourselves have to deal with our own mentality of what we're willing to accept as far as how we are portrayed and what our images are in public. We have to start rejecting things that are negative. And we have to get a clear definition of what negative is. Because it's almost to the point now that as long as it's rich, it's okay. Like you got people who love people like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and these other, people of color who are out here with these images that are completely detrimental to women of color. It's terrible. And I can't believe like the Real Housewives, I call it ratchet TV. The Real Housewives. You always got somebody yelling and screaming and arguing and acting. That's all you see. But because these people look like they have money, we're willing to accept that. As it is such a negative stereotype being portrayed of us. And I can't believe that we're accepting it as black women. We got to stop finding this stuff entertaining. We got to stop thinking it's funny. It's not funny. Because there are people out here that really believe that we are like that as black women. And we as black women and black men, we got to work to change these and change this. and find a way to make it better. And I know this is not the popular subjects. These are not the popular things that people want to talk about in the Black community, because like I said before, and you'll hear me say it again, this is the stuff that makes us have to look at us. This is the kind of stuff that makes us focus in on what we're doing that is detrimental to ourselves. They can't project a negative stereotype of us without us. Yeah, that's a fact. Let me say it again. They need us in order to project a negative stereotype about us. Because a white woman can't get up there in blackface and act like us. That's going to be rejected. That's going to be called out and tore down. But if they can get a Black actress that doesn't care about what type of role she takes, as long as she getting paid, then they'll use us to hurt us with these negative stereotypes. So we got to think about ways that we as Black people want to start redefining the Black woman. And that's up to us to do so, first of all, as Black women. We got to stop accepting the stereotype. We got to stop feeding the stereotype, even if it comes from Black men, because honestly, a lot of the stereotypes of Black women come out of the mouths of Black men. And I want to use the term men loosely, because these are not really men in the fact that they're trying to be men. These are the men that's trying to get over, run game, talk crap, mooch, live off a woman, not try. These are the men that are projecting the negative stereotypes of Black women. It's the Black men that can't get over on Black women are the main ones projecting the stereotypes of Black women. So we have to work as a race together, hand in hand, to tear down the stereotypes of Black women. Women, Black women, stop getting on social media twerking. Stop getting on social media showing your tail, literally. Stop posting videos fighting, cussing, and going off, literally. We gotta do better. And we gotta get out of this mentality, because this is a mentality that I see, and I see it, that we got somebody told. We got to get out of that, because that's perpetuating that angry Black woman. We can communicate and express what we don't like without going off cussing and acting a fool to do it. We got to get to a better place in our minds where we're not allowing ourselves to stereotype ourselves. You know what? The smartest thing an oppressor can do is to get you to oppress yourself. And that is what the oppressor has done to the Black community. They paid the Black community to play these roles on TV, to sing these songs, projecting these images, projecting these stereotypes, to the point where Black people have accepted the stereotypes and now are perpetuating them themselves. That's a sad state to be in. When we're no longer, when the oppression becomes automatic. When the stereotypes become something we're doing to ourselves now. And we think it's funny. So how do we begin to heal? We need to go back to the root of everything. And that is God, the creator of us all. He created you. He created me. He created man. He created woman. So we need to go back to the word and what it says about the situation. Let's go to Ephesians 5:24-26, the King James Version. It says, therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, also let wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word. Now let's go up to that word subject. He said, therefore, as Christ is subject, the church is subject unto Christ, let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. That word subject has often been misconstrued as being subjected as in under his rule or under his control. And that's not what that means when God says that in his word. Because when you subject somebody to something, you're forcing them to be under subjection to something. That's by force. So when a wife is to be subject to her husband, that's not what that means. That means to be dependent on her husband. That's what that scripture is talking about. So therefore, as the church is dependent onto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Wives are supposed to be dependent upon their husbands for certain things. So we have to keep that in mind when it comes to the way a husband is supposed to treat your wife. If you know that your wife is supposed to be dependent on you for certain things, that's the reason why the next scripture say, husband, love your wives, even also as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. So with the idea that a woman is supposed to be subjected to her husband and be dependent on her husband, Christ goes further to say, husband, I need you to love your wife just like the church is dependent upon me, and your wife has to be dependent upon you like the church is dependent upon me. I need you to love your wife the way I love my church. And I gave myself for it. So we have to get an understanding of what this means, because men, black men, your women are dependent upon you. We depend on you to respect us. We depend on you to uplift us. We depend on you to speak those words of life over us. So when you're calling women B's and H's, always calling them angry and bitter, and you're speaking death onto your queen. You're not speaking life to her. You're speaking death on her with those words. And down to the point that women have to empower themselves, because we've been beaten down so much in society verbally by our men. If a woman goes to get child support for her child, she's bitter, she's angry, she's just trying to tear him down, she's just trying to go after him. Come on, y'all. We got to get a little bit better. Excuse me. We got to get better at what we're perpetuating out here. Okay? So then go to Genesis 2:22-24. And it says, and the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Now, this scripture applies to this situation so well because this is how the man, the black man, needs to speak of the black woman and understand what Adam said when he said what he said about Eve. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Woman is made of the same substance you are made out of. She is bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh. She is made of the same thing, the same substance, the same bone and flesh that you're made of. She is your equal, deserving of the same respect you would want for yourself. This is what Adam was saying. He did not see Eve as being something less than himself. He said, she's bone of my bone. She's flesh of my flesh. Me and her made of the same stuff. This is my equal here. This is my ride or die. This is my girl here. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. That's the way you need to see the black woman. That's the way the white man needs to see the white woman. That's the way men need to see women. Then he goes on to say, and she shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Now, the key word here is out. She was taken out of man and created a separate and whole being apart from man. So God didn't make a reflection of man. He didn't make a being less than man. He took her out of man. He pulled her out and made her a complete, total, separate and complete being from man, who is bone of his bone and made out of the same stuff he's made out of. Think about that for a minute. If you really looked at your woman and saw that she was and viewed her as being made out of the same stuff you made out of, equal with you, would you be so quick to demean and dismiss how she feels? Would you be so quick to abuse and mistreat her? You would see her as an asset. You would see her as something valuable because you would understand she's made out of the same stuff you're made out of. Your woman is bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh, made out of the same stuff you're made out of. She's not less than you, but she's not higher than you. She is equal to you, made out of the same stuff you're made out of. If enough men could get this understanding and see their woman for that, that would bring about so much healing and change in relationship. And this is where we need to get. And then it goes on to say, therefore, shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. The problem that we have here is the failure to leave and cleave. You have too many men who are still yet mama's boys. You have too many men who have a leave and cleave relationship with their boys. With the bro, the women over, the bros over, men over women and whatever. Y'all know that whole stupid saying. But the problem is that when a man leaves and cleaves to a woman and they now become one flesh, she is equal. How is she lesser than you when you're one? How are you better than her and you're one? How is she and how is she all these bad names and you're not when you're one? You have to understand what God created when he created man and woman. We're meant to be together, one flesh, together. And the only way that that union can be successful is if men go back and think like Adam did. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. We made out of the same stuff. We're the same. Then you can show each other the same respect. You can show her the respect that she deserves. She can show you the respect that you deserve. Because you got to understand there's a spiritual thing that goes on within a relationship. The man is the head. What he puts out will be what he gets back. If you disrespect, abuse, and mistreat, you're not going to get that loving relationship wife that you want. So this is meant to help heal relationships between men and women, especially black men and women. And I hope this is an eye opener to some of the stereotypes of black women. And I hope that some black women look at this and some black men look at this and find ways to tear down the stereotypes of black women within your own life. Because all it takes is one at a time. If one at a time we begin to start tearing down these stereotypes, men stop calling women bitter every time they don't like something you do. Women stop calling other women bitter. Women, carry yourselves more appropriately on social media and out in public. Think about the big picture when it comes to us as a people. And I can see change happening in the community if we did that. I can see things getting better for our community if we just one by one start to make change. That's my show for tonight. I love you guys and good night. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.